Hi, my name is Fred Newman. I'm the owner of the View Camera Store and Fred Newman Photography, and today I'd like to talk about the Canham 5x7 MQC metal camera. This is the camera right here, and I'll show you how it works. Okay, we have the camera now mounted on a tripod, and this is the rear standard up here with the ground glass protector. And let me show you the first thing. There's two little T-bars, one on each side of on the bottom of the rear standard. We're going to loosen both of these, and we're going to raise up the rear standard, and you feel it has a little detent. Just lock it down, one on each side. And when opening up bellows, I like to get the bellows out, move the front standard out a little bit so we don't chafe the bellows. I'm just going to rack it out a little bit. This is your focusing knob or racking out knob, and this is your locking lever right here. So the first thing I want to do is push this up. Make sure these are loose, of course. Push this up. Think of this as a V. So we're going to keep this as far back as we can so none of this touches the bellows over here. We're just going to raise it up, and we'll just lock it down temporarily here, and then we'll set up the front. Okay, now, let me loosen this up. You'll notice there's a little groove over here, and there's these two bars over here. These are for your rise and fall. So what you want to do is just push it down. It goes down and that way. And then the same for this one over here. So now this is our rise and fall. And you'll notice right here, it's maybe a little hard to see, but when you get the camera, there's a little tiny line right here, and that's where you want to lock it down to, because that centers the front standard with the rear bellows. And also on the front here, it's the same as the rear standard. There's a little detent, so that's where you lock it in right here. Okay, now let's get this back to neutral. And we're all set to show you how everything works. First thing I want to show you is all the movements in the front. You've got these two knobs are for your rise and fall. Again, we'll, at the little line right here, lock it down. This little lever right here is for your front swing. And you can just line it up that way by eye. These two knobs here are for your shift. You can see. And there's a little line right here for lining it up, one on this and one on here. And also you have base tilts in the front. Lock it down. So we have rise and fall, swing, shift, and base tilt in the front. Now the back is almost identical, except it doesn't have rise and fall. So we have this lever here again for your swing. These two knobs are for your shift, for rear shift. And again, you've got the little line to line it up. And these two locking levers or bars are for your base tilt in the rear. Okay, now for focusing, first thing I would do, if you have a short lens, you could use, there's a little lever right in here for sliding the back forward, which makes it kind of easy. So you basically, you slide, what I recommend is sliding, like let's say a 90 millimeter or a 72, slide the back forward, and so you go a little bit past focus, and then lock it down, and then you use the rear for focusing. This is kind of a left-handed camera, because you'll notice when I'm at the back here, and let's say I'm focusing with the loop, I've got my left hand on the focusing knob and ready to lock it down here. Okay, let me put this back to neutral. If you happen to have a longer lens, you might want to just rack out the front a little bit and then rack out the back a little bit, and then you can focus that way. This way the camera's nice and balanced. And this camera has about 24 inches of bellows. What you do is we could rack this out all the way. Whoops. Okay. Oh, the little Velcro was caught here? Okay. Now, get a little bit more bellows by sliding this forward. You notice on the rear there's the same little lever here for locking, which slides it back and forth. Let's lock it out all the way. And in the back, and then you can get a little bit more if you need this. So you got 24 inches of bellows in the long end, and then if you put a wide angle bellows in here, this camera can go down to using a 58 millimeter. So it's got the same wide angle capability as the 4x5, but a little bit longer capability, 3 more inches of bellows for longer lenses. Let me just get this back to neutral again. And if the bellows droops a little bit like here, you've got your little bit of Velcro here. Especially if to stretch it out, some of the bellows do that. So just push it forward a little bit and grab it over here. Here we go. Okay, got it. Now one thing also I want to show you, Canhams are very unique in mounting your lenses. They've got a lock on the bottom and a lock on the top. So let's open it up. Take our lens, take the rear cap off. When you mount your lenses, you can always mount them so that the logo is in the lower right, and it fits in very exactly. Now just lock the bottom and lock the top. Very important to remember this, because a lot of cameras, if you're switching cameras, have a little groove that this fits in on the bottom, and you'll be in major trouble if you don't remember this. So again, lock the bottom and lock the top. And it's exactly the same on the rear. If you want to do a vertical, you just lock this down. You've got a lock on the top and a lock on the bottom. So if you want to switch it to vertical, lock the top, lock the bottom, and you're ready for vertical. Now this is, let me just set it back to neutral here. You normally put the film holder on the right. Okay. Oops. Let's get this back this way. You'll notice there's a ground glass protector on here. I recommend them. You'll notice it's a U-shaped ground glass protector so that it covers both sides. Let's put this back in. This way, when you take this off, you're protecting the inside where the Fresnel lens is. The metal cameras do come with a clear glass that has a grid on it. And on the inside, there's the Fresnel. So the Fresnel is a little bit delicate, so I always recommend using a ground glass protector. For this camera, you can get wide-angle bellows, so let me just show you. The bellows come out in the back like this. And you'll notice here, there's 4 little angles where the bellows rests on. So when you put the bellows back, make sure you can't see this little angle piece, because if you do, when you put the back on, there will be a little bit of a light leak here. So always make sure you see the frame of the bellows when you replace it. Put this back. And again, lock on the top, lock on the bottom. Okay. When you're ready to put the camera away, first thing to do is take off the lens. Remember the lock on the bottom and the top. So let's put the lens away. Always put your lens caps on. Close this, close this. Now the same thing we're going to do, just like when we opened it, we're going to rack this out at least, I'd say, a hand width. Raise this up. Let me do it so I can see it here. Okay, let's loosen this up. Let's close these. Put these back so we can close up the camera. And you notice it will bend back. What you want to do now is loosen these 2 here, where your base tilt is, and think again as a V. Okay, so think of this as, we're going to make this into a V, so we're going to go some straight, push the top forward, and slide it down, and keeping this as far as you can here. A lot of cameras, this little piece here will chafe the bellows, so I always be very careful when you close these up. Okay, now let's move this back. And now we're ready to close it. Okay. Now we're all set. These cameras do come with a case, so when you're all done, just take your camera off, and always make sure you have your ground glass protector on, and put it right in your case. I hope this helps. Thank you so much.